I'd like to call to order our August 1st, 2022 Jones County Board of Education meeting. I'd like to thank all visitors, guests, and all those watching virtually in attendance. Ms. Candace, please let the record show we do have a quorum of 5 board members present. Also present in the boardroom, Superintendent Dr. Thigpen, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Marquis, and Board Attorney Mr. Shive will be a few minutes late, but he is on his way. This time I'll ask all to stand for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll ask for the approval of our regular session Jones County Board of Education meeting minutes from July the 5th.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr.
I
Griffin,
didn't see anything scanning over.
second by Ms. V. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. At this time, I'll ask for the approval of our August 1st, 2022 board agenda.
So moved.
Second.
That's from Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Brown. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. At this time, we'll move into item 2A, public comments.
We do have public comment requests. The first coming from Mr. Robert Gomes.
Before you get started, let me just lay out some ground rules that the public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to speak tonight about extending Dr. Thigpen's contract with the county. I have 4 kids that go to school. I had 5. My son graduated. Dr. Thigpen in my eyes has been an asset to the community. From his community halls that he's presented, I mean, it was amazing. Never had the opportunity to get up and speak, and let alone make parents' comments. Kids were there. It was a really nice thing. And even if you didn't agree with what they were doing, he still listened to you, which was very nice. It was different because for the first 4 years our kids were here, nobody really asked a parent. There was no community halls. The previous person that was in, I probably seen 3 times. I've seen Dr. Thigpen probably 20. It was nice. He's available. When I've called him with concerns, he's returned my call. First time that's ever happened. It was nice. It was nice that he picked up the phone. Granted, they took a message, but it wasn't but maybe an hour he called me back. And he answered the question that I had. He got the kids returned to school so that they could be safe, so they could be fed, so they could get their education, which I think was important, where other counties weren't returning to school. Nobody knowing what happened to the kids, or are they being taken care of? Are they eating? Where our kids got back into the classrooms to learn and to get over about what was already done. He's just been an asset to the community. I have enjoyed having him as a superintendent. Like I said, it's always been there. I see him at games. He shows up to events. He talks to my family, introduces to my family, shakes your hand, always asks if you're okay. So at this time, I would ask the board to revote and extend Dr. Thigpen's contract. That's what I had.
Thank you.
There's also a request by Ms. Wayne Rouse.
Dear ladies, gentlemen of the board, Dr. Thigpen, Mr. Marquis, Mr. Attorney. My name is Gwen Rouse, and I have a few concerns about some information that I have heard in the last couple of weeks. On 2 separate occasions, 2 of you were quoted saying Dr. Thigpen requested a 2-year extension on his contract, and it was denied by which we voted. The only ones that voted to keep him were Billy Griffin and Debbie Filion. I went to Dr. Thigpen and I asked him, and he confirmed this information was in fact true. First and foremost, Dr. Thigpen is one of the best things that has happened to Jones County Schools in a very long time. He is not only present in the schools, he's supportive of the staff, and he cares about these kids. And has put things in place to do what is best for them for now and in their future. I represent community members, parents, and over 80 employees of this school system who would be here with me if they didn't fear for their jobs. These are the very people that elected you and trusted in you to have the best interest of this school system and its children in your decisions. You not only have done a disservice to Dr. Thigpen, the staff members, parents, and these kids by not extending his contract by 2 years, you have also violated the very code of ethics that governs this board by publicly discussing the personnel matter at hand that was held in a closed session. I have given you a copy of the code of ethics for your reference, which states, respect the confidentiality of information that is privileged under applicable law and refrain from unauthorized disclosure of matters discussed in closed session. You have the ability to right this wrong and do what is in the best interest of this school system and these kids. I ask you to reconsider your decision and extend the contract by the 2 years in which it was requested. But before I close, I want to read you a letter from Mr. Harper. He's a commissioner of Jones County. And give you a little backplay. Jones County Commissioners and Jones County Board of Education don't really have this bond going on. But Dr. Thigpen has put a bridge there. Thank you. During my tenure as Jones County Commissioner, I have been in several meetings and have taken the opportunity to communicate with Dr. Thigpen. Without exception, he has advocated for and supported Jones County to include building and maintaining a strong relationship between Jones County Board of Education and Jones County Commissioners. James Harper, Jones County Commissioner. Thank you for your time, and I really hope that you reconsider.
Thank you.
No other requests at this time?
This time we'll move into item 3A, the athletic field facility use.
There was discussion earlier that you as a board wanted to discuss the new ball fields and their use and how that would play out. And I know that Dr. Parker and the high school staff, want to get feedback from you before they move forward. And so there was some discussion about you all having a discussion about the field and its use. And so on the one hand, there was a thought that you could designate one field for middle school baseball and one for high school baseball, and the same with softball, have a middle school and a high school field. Another thought that has been brought up is to have the new fields be prepared for games, because the middle school teams only play about 5 or 6 home ball games. And so there would just be 5 or 6 times that the high school would go and practice on the middle school fields. And so it's open for, for you all to have any discussion or input or any instructions from me as superintendent concerning that.
For me, as long as we have provided 2 fields for the high school and the middle school, it don't matter to me how we lay it out, who uses what fields. I was more or less worried about which fields is the county going to use as, because that wasn't ever in our facilities use agreement with the county. Are we going to allow them to use the new ball fields, or just, for me, I said they used the new ball fields if they wanted to set up. That's just my opinion. I don't know how everybody else felt about it. So. but we're gonna have to update our facilities use agreement with the county to include that field one way or the other. So, not everybody else felt.
Yeah, I don't see no issue with the county using.
Upkeep is my main concern, as far as who uses it, as long as it's kept up. Like it's a brand new, whatever dollar facility it is. That's my main concern is upkeep.
Okay.
And scheduling whoever does use it.
Mhm.
You know, we need to have a pretty good understanding of when people are gonna be there.
Right.
And if we can get away whenever we're practicing at whatever sport, at using minimal lighting, if you're playing the whole field of, and you're practicing baseball and you're hitting all over batting practice, you're hitting all over the field, I understand you may need, you know, more than one post of lights, but when we used to practice football out there, we were just glad to have somewhere to go. And I could do what I needed to do. Of course, it's 10 yards at football practice, you know, probably either way. And I could practice under one post, and I wouldn't run but one post of lights. But when you go out there and throw on everything we've got, that you know, and I'm talking about now, and I want the kids to get whatever practice they need in the off season. But we need to be conscious of, because when you go out there and that whole box is buzzing, you know, and I've heard numbers of what it costs just to turn on the lights. I don't know that to be true, but Melissa could probably help us. But that's pretty expensive. And if we could do it with less lighting at practices and, you know, whenever we go to just single workouts or whatever. But yeah, I would just be concerned about the upkeep of the new field, no matter who's on it.
But you wouldn't have any issues with the county on the new field?
I mean, I really don't like having I don't know, I'm kind of torn about that. I just don't want it messed up no matter who uses it. And if it's going to be well taken care of and somebody's name is going to be responsible, you know, I don't think I'd have a big problem with it. Aren't we doing that with the gyms?
Correct.
We had called out one of those gyms to not be used. And I can't remember if it was the 15-year or the Harry Brown gym. It was in our
It
facility.
was not Harry Brown, it was the other gym.
Mm-hmm. So
We didn't take that out.
If
I
we
think it
wanted
stays in.
if we want to discuss that, you know, that wouldn't bother me with a little bit of discussion to it, just to make sure we cover everything.
So would we be fine with having, you know, normally the high school athletic director and principal are in charge? Are y'all fine with them navigating the field usage and
I couldn't
Just
understand
don't mind
that.
how it work.
Well, I originally felt like we built those two fields for the high school. And I thought we were kind of under the agreement to begin with. The first ones going to play on those fields are going to be high school students.
I think that's the way I
And,
understand
and
it.
that's the way, and just, we've got the two fields in the back. If rec was going to use them, they can play them in the daylight. If it's convenient with the school, with the athletic director and the principal. But the two things in the front, you know, I thought that was kind of something that the high school needs to play on first, and the middle school needs to look up and want to play on it later. That's just my opinion.
I think the high school gonna play on it first.
I
think the high school gonna play on it first.
But I'm telling you, that's what, I mean, that's what we need to do. I don't think rec needs to be playing on those two fields until our,
What they were saying, rec normally start after the high school season.
you know, we've got a whole lot of stuff going on with rec right now. We met with the Bait Foundation in the middle of last week. And then we had there's a lot of money laying out there that we might be eligible for as Jones County as far as rec to turn what is over at the middle school into a temporary rec facility. Maybe enough money we can build out of the flood zone. But we're not talking about a lot of money with the high school gym with the middle school gym like it is. I know we're getting a little bit away, but I mean, we're trying to get away from rec having to play in our facility.
But I keep
We're
hearing
still
that
working it.
to keep the rec from our facilities. I mean, do we not know these kids are ones that's gonna be
No.
playing on our facilities? I mean, what's the scare of allowing the rec to play on our fields?
There's not.
What is
With the rec program the way
fear?
it's headed now, it's a little bit different. and we got more commissioner input, and they got more money, but with David, our rec director, he's still having issues, not with our school facilities, but being able to schedule events. He's having them, having to do, if we can get rec away from the schools, or he can just have his own facility, he can run a lot better rec program, is what I'm saying.
Until
I mean,
we get to that.
We've got a lot
of.
There's a lot of money coming in. We got a joint meeting the 23rd of this month, I think, ain't it, Debbie?
Yeah, 350,000.
Or 22nd, maybe it's the 22nd, it's 2 weeks from tonight that we're going over intentions and all the monies. I mean, there's several $1 million out there we might be eligible for. But to build a gym, we know it's gonna cost $3 million, because we just built $3 million in baseball fields. And the 2 gyms over there, be over $3 million now to build one like it. The middle school gym is not hurt. There's only just a couple of places in the floor that just need minor repair. And we can play in it as long as it's not a, turbulent weather. But going back to the ball fields,
Go ahead.
I feel like the high school students need to be starting out on those 2 high school fields.
Maybe at least for the first season. As far as the county, the wear and tear on those fields over time. And if they're having a tournament, sponsoring a tournament, you got multiple teams coming in, I can see us perhaps using that, but, I'm not sure how many leagues we even have with rec, because the teams are actually playing in Newbern right now. And it's gonna be a little while longer before we build that program up with your t-ball and baseball, before we'll be able to get 4 or 5 teams in the county, 6 teams maybe, to even worry about that.
Yeah.
So they have Pollocksville Elementary to practice on. I think they have Maysville, Frost Park to practice on, or play on, whichever they do. And our 2 older fields, and it seems like that would probably suffice for the usage at this time.
Part of me agrees with Billy, and you kind of look forward to earning that high school privilege to step on that field, but you also have to look, my main thing is upkeep, and we're having, looks like a little bit of a problem now keeping up with both fields now. Think about if you're having to keep up with both of them game ready.
Every day.
Keep them game ready, through the season. That's 4 fields instead of 2. If you had just a practice field to go to, I think that would be a whole lot more convenient, because it looks like we're having a hard time. And I'm not complaining, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Maintenance is one thing that's got it. Then that's my main concern, is maintaining these fields and keeping the weeds off of them and keeping the base paths clear. It's this thing that, we just put a lot into it. I want it to be kept up, and the practice fields too. But to keep 2 fields game ready, I just think it would be. I understand the nostalgia part of it. They should have to earn it up to high school. I got all that, but it would help you as far as only having to keep 2 fields instead of 4 fields game ready.
I think it needs to be an administrative decision in the
Yes.
long, in the short.
Yes, they know what's happening more, and we just wasted 10 minutes, but hey.
No, we didn't. I'm
No, we
just
didn't.
happy that we're getting that kind of numbers that we can start looking forward to having that, and we're getting our kids in this county involved. And
Yeah, we've
he's
been
had a
real,
good summer with summer camp and stuff, so, yeah, I'm not
and we've
taking
been,
away from I don't want to take away from anything youth-wise and building our programs up, because that's what's gonna have to happen for us to be competitive.
Rick
But
White,
I think we have enough fields with the amount of teams that's playing right now.
rec-wise, we're being invited to play in the leagues both in Lenore County and in
Yes.
Craven County, which is
They
thanks
are.
to what they're doing with our rec program, which is something we ain't had for the kids in years.
That was mentioned in our last meeting.
Yeah.
So we won't amend our facilities use agreement with the county yet. We just won't have the new ball fields in it, and it'll be a case by case. If there's a tournament that comes up,
Yeah,
we might could entertain
Well, that was one of the big things when we thought we were in the negotiation of building, of maybe having some tournaments come in and be a big fundraiser for the athletic department, for the high school.
Okay.
You know, and for the, you know, to try to give these kids a little bit extra, you know, if it shows up where we can do it. You know, they're running I think David's running a really top thing for us, rec, you know, for us, what he's trying to do. And we're doing all right at high school, trying to, you know, doing what we're doing. So
We have good
I don't know if that
communication.
answers the question,
It
really,
does.
does it?
For me,
Huh.
for me, it does. I didn't know if we needed to amend our facilities use agreement.
Well, it's up to the high school administrator anyway, the way I think it reads in the long run.
There does a lot of leeway.
Yeah, I mean, because for our facilities, you know, we just didn't have that one built.
So we'll draft some kind of game plan. That way you'll have something to look at.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move into item 3B then, our facilities report.
Back in the facilities needs, I'm just gonna run down on a few items. Summer brings on a lot of work in there we try to catch up on. Just to give you a quick rundown of what we've got current, what we've got going. Backflow preventative inspections been done, those of course been done with the County Water Department. Water inspections completed, these are on school preservation inspections, any place that we have a compressor, high school, a shop class. Those vessels have to be inspected as well when they're current. Underground storage tank facility, we have two of those, one's located at Maysville, one's located at Pottsville. Those permits are current and ready to go. Grease trap inspections and pumping is current. We have different compliances we go by. Maysville has a 6-month requirement that there's a pump every 6 months. In Maysville, the state requires that facilities are out in the county can pump once a year, but those are current at this time. Fire inspections are current as well as pre-K. Sprinkler systems have been inspected. Projects we have going right now, we'll talk about the softball, baseball field. We have some warranty work that we have going on at the softball field right now. The sewer pumping station located behind the baseball field failed. When it still failed, I think Larry had called me about that Saturday night. I'm not there with that. But anyway, pumping and the failure, I've since called the Denison Ferry and Sons that pulled that pump out. They've ordered a new pump. I checked with Denison again today. That pump should arrive tomorrow. They want a new president. They installed a new pump so they can go and make sure everything works as it should. And I told them I'd be available for that as well. There is an issue with a door that I've got under warranty. That's in the press box at the baseball field. The door's not closed. There's a shoe that looks like a hinge was bent on it and the carrying shop of a crane that wasn't installed, but it should have been. So that's another item we're looking at this time. The sound system has been installed by maintenance. When the sound system is up and tested, it has Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth capability. So if you want to speak from the field remotely, you can do that through the sound system, or you can do it from the press box either one. And all these areas are climate control as well. So that's where we stand at the baseball field and that complex at this time. I have two quotes so far on the fence that we discussed at the last meeting I was present at, to go ahead and direct the people into the sports complex. I think it's what we're planning on start calling over there. That would direct people into a simple gate to either go to the baseball fields or go to the football fields. We're in the process of installing ADA accessibility to the football field bleachers at this time. I've pulled out most of the asphalt over there last week, and we're gonna bring that in. And what I plan to do, instead of putting the rip in, we're gonna elevate a sidewalk up that meets the requirement with a 1 foot 1 inch slope. That way we're gonna eliminate the steps altogether, because we've had some issues with people stumbling and falling on the steps. And I'm gonna actually install a sidewalk in that grade that goes from the concession stand area up to the bleachers itself with AD accessibility on that area. The 400 amp services that are located at the ball field, the equipment come in last week. Ken and I have installed the power supply that comes from the power 400 amp three-phase service has been installed to the CT cabinet. The CT cabinet rack has been installed. The panels have been installed. The junction box for the light system has been installed. So we're in the process of bringing all that in, picking it up. I met with Duke Energy last week. Duke Energy has already filled the paperwork out, and all they have to do is put them on full screen. I made it as easy as I can. I put a conduit in all the way and put a full string in, so all they gotta do is pull a wire and a 4-inch conduit. And hopefully we're ahead of the game on that and get it ready to go. The 400 amp center, the rack's up, that service is installed. I'm waiting for Duke Energy to build the power system. They're going to try to save some money rather than put in a new system. They've agreed to use our existing three-phase system back here, set up on and plow into that. That way we don't have to pay that additional spend to get power over that building. That meter base, I managed to locate one last week. Since COVID, industrial, commercial equipment is really hard to come by, and that's been holding up on both these projects along as panels. Anyway, we have all this in place. Back to the high school gym. I worked with Omnia, which was a co-op that was approved for ESSER funding to come in and do the HVAC work on the gym, and we've since tried to clear that through DPI. DPI says they would rather not go with a co-op that's approved for that. They want me to write an RFP on that. I'm in the process of doing that to solicit bids from the gym nation itself. So that's where we're at with that right now. Anybody have any questions?
Appreciate it, Tim. Item 3C, the budget report.
Good evening, everyone. We've included in your packet the budget report for July. As you notice, a lot of our ERCs we haven't spent any funding in, and several of them we've not received our funding in. So if you have any questions on that, I will be more than glad to answer them. If not, we'll move to the retirement report.
Any questions on the budget report? Moving to item 3D, the retirement report.
I have included in your packet our annual, well, we get it monthly, but I will get to it annually. This is a report that we are given by the retirement system. Anybody who makes over a certain income threshold for our system, if they were to leave, retire, we would have to pay an additional FICA fee for their retirement. Todd Morgan was listed here, and since she's left, she's no longer on our report. The only individual on our report is Dr. Pickens. So if you have any questions about that, I will be more than glad to answer them.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3E, the superintendent update and comments.
So board members, I want to share with you the things that we've been making progress on over the summer. Of course, the most important thing for a school system is do you have your positions filled at this point? And right now, Mr. Markey and principals have done a great job, and we believe we are, we have everything in place at this time. We spent some time after our safety assessment revising our safety protocols. We've met with directors and our principals, and we'll meet again on Wednesday to finalize all those protocols and things for our crisis and safety guides for this year. We've also worked a little bit on the reunification plan to create that, which we probably didn't have in the best shape. But we do have it now in really good shape, and I think we've got a pretty comprehensive safety plan in place. The staff development has been taking place throughout the summer. We've had teachers individually going to staff development. We've had it as a central office staff, and several of our directors have gone to conferences. Tim and the custodial staff are taking care of making sure all the facilities are clean and ready to go as we begin the school year. We've spent time reviewing the academic results. You have a copy, Candace, which is which outlines that this is just preliminary results, but you'll see it shows you see in green, that means we've made progress, and if you see in red, that compares and shows you where that we've not made gains. But you can see in most areas we've made progress in every subject and grade level for this year, and so that's been positive. But we've also used that information to plan as far as going forward this school year as well. And we'll, on August 3rd, have our meeting where we tie all this stuff together. But we've made some pretty good progress academically. A lot of systems are really struggling with their math. And we've had maybe a couple of grade levels where we're having some problems, but we've made some really nice gains as well. So we're proud of our work there. These are some key dates that are coming up. Our teacher work days will start August 15th through the 26th. Convocation will be August the 22nd at 8:30. Dr. Leslie Eason is going to speak at our convocation. Open house is August the 25th, which is a Thursday, from 4 to 7. And then the first day for students will be August the 29th. I also want to mention Mr. Mallard and Recreation Department are doing a back to school bash on August 13th from 10 to 2 in the Civic Center, and we've got some brochures that we're going to get out related to that. And Candace has sent you a copy of all these dates as well by email, so you have them that way as well. We've got an update as far as COVID and our efforts that we need to make this year. There's been a sunset to the Strong Schools Toolkit. We're now relying on the CDC guidelines as far as operation this year. Bryce has put all that information together succinctly for our staff. There's basically, he's got 5 rules that he's going to. Bryce, would you want to speak to any of that down on that?
Yeah, it's a lot better world to live in right now, especially on the HR end. We don't have to isolate after close contact, and that'll be emphasized to our principals so they're all on the same page with our staff. And the quarantine time is only 5 days instead of 10 or 14, which is a gift for our schools.
Thank you, Bryce. We've gone through the strategic planning, and the strategic plan that's been created. We've plugged in the numbers for the yearly targets. We'll work a little bit more on that on August the 3rd to finalize it, but we've got, a 5-year target, and then we've broken down the targets from year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through it. So that has been beneficial, and that's the direction we're heading. The thing that we're going to focus on this year is continue with the academic growth, and especially work on attendance as well. Those are the 2 big things. We feel like if we can get our kids in the building, we can do good things with them. So those are the 2 big focuses for us as far as the strategic plan goes. Susan and I have done some work. This became a little bit of an issue, class size. We had to do a couple of waivers last year, and she and I are going to work. We may have an issue in Maysville, but we're going to try to work and try to remedy that before the year starts, so we don't keep continuing with that, month after month after month, that we can go ahead and have a solution at the beginning of the year, so we don't have to keep dealing with that in waivers. So those are the things I wanted to share. The staff has done a great job over the summer, and thankful for the work they do and where we're at, and look forward to the school year beginning.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Into action items 4A, the 2022-23 child nutrition bids.
Good evening. As I do each year, I come before you to request permission to accept the child nutrition bids for this upcoming year. We reviewed all bids last year. We rebid all accounts last year, the food, milk, produce, and ice cream. And generally we have a 5-year rollover period with the bidding. It still has to be approved each year. Cisco would not roll over any bids this school year. They wanted to rebid all because they were charging us $1.75 delivery fee per case. They increased that to $2.49 delivery fee per case. We did send bids to 2 other companies, but they chose not to bid. It was Gordon Food Service and US Foods, and they're in the western part of the state, so they don't really service this area. So even though we sent out 3, we just received back 1. So with that, I would like to roll over the bidding for milk with Mayola, produce with R&H Produce, the Hershey's ice cream, and then a new bid of Cisco for the food and supplies.
We still doing the free lunches and all that?
Yes, we are.
Is that still going to be implemented this year?
Yes, throughout, we began in the year 2014-15
Right.
with the CEP program, the Community Elegy Provision.
How much more was the Cisco bid compared from district, like about $40,000 or $50,000 difference?
Give or take. The CEP, this may be the last year of it, but also the Child Nutrition Reauthorization Act is on the table now. They've just sent it to the Senate, the House, and the President to sign on it. There is a multiplier that they use to figure whether we qualify for CEP or not. And it takes the amount of children who are receiving direct certification, and it has a multiplier times of 1.6. They are looking at increasing that multiplier to 2.5. If that approves, we'll be in excellent shape. But so we'll see more this year how that unfolds. But for this year, we're still on the CEP program.
I'll make a motion to accept the rollover bids and the new bid for Cisco.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Griffin, second by Ms. Fee. All in favor say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Now moving into item 4B, the budget amendment number 1.
The bus that we ordered last year from Carolina Thomas did not arrive until the end of the fiscal year. So we have to rebudget that expenditure for this upcoming year, and that is what is included in this amendment. And that's all. Having questions, I'll be moving on.
So what do you need a motion to accept the budget amendment? So moved.
Motion by Mr. Griffin, second by Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5. Item 4C, the approval of the Avalis final termination vote.
Included in your packet was the copy of the letter the attorney kept was prepared to terminate, the balance of Avalos' contract. Contract was originally wrote in 3 phases because we anticipated being able to do more with our funding than we did. The bulk of our funding is exhausted and there's not enough to cover the 2 final phases. So we need to formally terminate the contract. So I just need you to approve the, termination.
So Farrier is the one that's responsible for the change, for the warranty stuff, not Avalis.
Alice was oversight, and John was supposed to be oversight. Barrier still working for 1 year for the Carolina law, regardless. So yes, we'll have somebody.
You good with this, Mr. Attorney?
Rod from our office worked on this, he's the expert in this area, but I trust he did it properly.
I remember we had pictures of cars and trees in the parking lot by the old high school gym that never entered it. We didn't have it when we got the building built. He was working on that, but I trust Rod.
Motion to approve the,
Second.
Mr. Brown made a motion to approve termination letter. Mr. Griffin, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive closed session for personnel reasons pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A 1 and 3 and 6.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Griffin,
Second.
second by Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. We were in a closed session at this time. Got it.